Welcome everybody to another show of the Haraami United. You know what? After the last episode we had, I think there's so much gone on since as well, and it's going to be hard to, kind of follow that one up. We did ask Riz to come back on today, but I think he really has had enough of this club and the way it's been running in. But we've got an able substitute, Tej. He's in today. He's finally recovered from the Harry Maguire news. So, we've got him up. He's still a bit, still coming back into fitness, but we've got him on. And we've always got the great Afsal, our rock at the back today as well. Boys, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Thanks for having me again, boys.
No, it's always a pleasure. Boys, I don't think there's anywhere else to start. I think you can probably hear it in my voice. I think I'm just at a point with this club. I tried to defend him in the last episode. If you listen to that episode, I was trying to defend the team. Riz, Akil, they were gunning, they were firing. You know what I mean? The banter, the Haraami. You'd heard the clips, guys. So I don't think I need to repeat it. But what is happening, man? I mean, we heard the Mason Greenwood news. I think officially is not even being released, or I think they're just saying they're not going to integrate him into the squad. Is that correct?
It's you know what? Let's put it how it is. It's a shit show. First of all, they released a statement. Actually, no, let's go all the way back. So when his charges got dropped, they then conducted this internal investigation, which took God knows how long, God knows how many meetings, whatever. And from what we've heard about it, there was no sort of special, it was dealt with as any other sort of office HR case, right? And you think for the nature of the case, the high profile, the people involved, you'd have someone a bit more specialized, bring in some outsiders, outsource the work and get a proper job done. Then you had rumors of, it's going to be before the Wolves game. Then it was, it's going to be next week. It's going to be this. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. Then you had Adam Crafton at the Athletic go digging. He's either told the club he's going to release a statement or he's not going to release a statement or whatever. He told the club something. So they jumped ahead and were like, we're going to release a statement about releasing a statement. Which is like, what the fuck are you trying to achieve? Because clearly they had it in their mind. Because remember, the original decision was September, right?
Yeah.
To me, that says he was going to stay. Because there was no other strikers lined up to come in. We didn't get Kane. We didn't even go in the race for Osimhen. We've got Højlund, who's subsequently now injured. We've got Martial. We've got Rashford. I won't even class Rashford as a striker. Guys, you heard everything Riz said. I don't think anything needs repeating. But it felt like they were going to keep him.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, Afsal, that it really does show that there's such a lack of leadership at our football club, and no one can seem to make a clear decision on what's going on. And then once again, the fans, everybody were just left in limbo, speculating. But I think I alluded to it in our very first couple of podcasts. I just thought it's going to be very difficult for Mason Greenwood to return. And then little part of me, maybe after months and months of testing the waters, maybe thought, okay, now it's all been dropped, maybe he can. Maybe there is room for him to come back. But it looks as if they've tried to work out the best sort of plan. I don't buy into the best sort of thing for the player. I think it's more so the best thing for the club. They've looked in their own interest, how it would benefit them. They've seen the potential backlash. They've seen it upset a few people. And I just think it's, again, a cowardly behaviour. And now they're having to go back on their word, because I agree with you there. I think that they were going to bring him back at one point. Everything looked like it was all set. And it looks like they've been doing a bit of backpedaling, especially in the last week or so. So it is what it is. I think I've had a lot of friends messaging me in different groups, different spaces, talking about, what a shame. It is a shame. It is a real big shame, because we've what a talent. I'll always think back to Ravel Morrison, players like that, and think, what a waste. Will it be a situation like that? Who knows? But it is really sad, unfortunate that such a good, probably young, talented English player that could have gone all the way to the top is now going to be leaving Man United and parting ways. So it is what it is. Just got to close that chapter.
Yeah, you're right. How can I put it? I don't feel sorry for Mason Greenwood because obviously he's put himself in that situation. Him and his girlfriend, put themselves in that situation. And I've said before, it was the case of it was a public case. However they look at it, people are, players past have done things of that nature, similar nature. George Best, who's admitted to beating up his girlfriends, wives, his partners, put it that way. And, he's got a statue outside Manchester United. So I don't even think it's the actual cause and what it done and things of that nature. I think it's because of that recording in public. And that's where a lot of people have got upset about actually listening to it. But then there's also a case of where they've said, Richard Arnold has said, actually he's not guilty. So like Afsar would have said earlier, so I don't want to talk about Mason Greenwood as such because I think, like I said, he's put himself in a situation, him and his girlfriend, and now they're having to suffer for what they've done. Okay, that's fine. But what the band George Puddu's doing at the top, man?
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
it. Yeah.
go on,
Like,
Tej.
Yeah, no, exactly. I echo those words. I probably won't be able to say it in as fluent and as sexy Punjabi as yourself, but I mean,
Yeah,
what the
man.
fuck? What the fuck is going on? It just shows what a shit show. I don't know if you caught the Monday Night Football. Gary Neville was. It was, you could see his body language. The way he was just like, just what do you expect? Do you expect anything? Do you expect anything less from Man United now? I mean, it's a shambles. It's an absolute shambles from the top down, and it's been brewing. We just need to literally get those new owners in and be done with all this, all the past people that are currently there, and get some new fresh faces in and people with a proper code of conduct, some good morals, good ethics, and actually get this club going in the right direction. Because you know what, it is doom and gloom. I unfortunately was ill, so I missed the Wolves game. But my friends who went, they said we won 1-0, Tej, but it felt like a loss. It felt like a loss. It felt like we were watching a team go backwards. It felt like second season syndrome. Felt like, here we go, the cycle's here again. And it felt like, Ten Hag's in trouble. And I know, yeah, we can all get too excited, but you know what? Results count. I'm always a guy that's always looks at results, but the Spurs for me, that is unacceptable on all levels. So I mean, moving swiftly on from Mason Greenwood and talking about the club as a whole, the way it's been run. I mean, what the hell is going on with that team? What the hell is going on behind the scenes?
Well, Ted, I think on the last podcast, I'd said something similar. I was like, look, you can't blame the players, of course. At the end of the day, it's the players that go onto that pitch. And yes, you're right. Yeah. However, you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to look at the common denominators. Obviously, post Fergie, well, even before Fergie, it was obviously the Glazers. We should still have done more than what we did. Even whilst Fergie was here, we sold Ronaldo for 80 million, and we just got fucking the likes of Michael Owen and Valencia. So I'm not going to go into that. He was just the pure genius of the guy who obviously did what he did. But after he left, they got exposed, and since after that, it's one bad decision, another decision after another. So I think you even see there's photos gone around on Twitter as well where you've got actual staff of Manchester United, I believe it's the Megastore, who have got leaflets who are saying the Glazers out. You've got.
Is this that image of I think it's advertising one of the protests, isn't it?
Something like that. I think, yeah, one of the protests. But even then, it's like, so the staff in the Megastore are frustrated. And they're probably a smaller cog down the wheel later on. So just imagine the playing staff, or the coaching staff, the people behind the scenes. How do you think they feel? And I get, change of ownership or whatever shouldn't affect you, but it does. It wears you down. it's not a one isolated incident. Like I said, it's been years upon years upon years.
Yeah, and literally, we're all scratching our heads. And I don't want to be that fan that goes into each game being negative. But what really concerns me is, I'm big on the fixtures. I'm always looking 3-4 games ahead, seeing what's going on, looking at other teams, how they're performing, what's going on. And I always like to see who's coming to Old Trafford, how they're performing, and where we're going away. And I look at these fixtures coming up, and I think to myself, our easiest game on paper should be on Saturday, but we are playing shocking. And when I watched Nottingham Forest against Arsenal, they were in that game till 85 minutes. They were in that game till 85 minutes. And there's definitely a possibility that they can counter-attack us. So Ten Hag really needs to sort it out, and the players need to step up, because literally there's no hiding now. And then a week after, we go straight to Arsenal. And I have never gone into an Arsenal game since probably Henry era where we are not only not the favourites, but we are expected to get a drumming. That's bad, and that speaks volume for the type of players, characters we have. I mean, we're expected to go into that Arsenal game and get a drumming. Literally, we are expected to get battered, and no one I know thinks that we can actually go there and win. And that's what's
Forget
really
the Arsenal game for 1 second, Tej.
Yeah,
I don't see us winning on Saturday.
it's going to be a hard
Like,
game. It's going to be a very hard game, because they will park the bus. Yeah,
We're getting a draw, if not a loss.
See, I can see us struggling more on the 16th of September against
but-
Brighton at home. And I know you're thinking we shouldn't think like this, but the reality is, Harpal, if you're watching the way... Look, I've heard that Mount's injured. I don't know how true that is or whatever.
Yeah,
and then I'm
injured.
thinking,
He's injured.
is that a blessing, Scott coming back into it? But then I'm thinking, if I'm Scott McTominay, can you imagine what he must be going through? Can you imagine how he must be feeling? Feeling second fiddle. They've just brought Mason Mount. And you know what? I've been disrespected with Fred and all this other stuff. They want me out, but they want me in. And there's links of Amrabat and whatnot. The club, it's in a bad way. That squad, that front 11, I genuinely thought last year, after bringing in a few additions, would be okay. But some of these characters and some of these players have been fully exposed. I mean, some of them, I don't want to talk too much into it because I'm hoping that they kick on. But players like Luke Shaw need to take a good look at themselves in the mirror. They're an absolute disgrace. And Marcus Rashford, I'm sorry, okay, I'll get it. He don't want to play down the middle. But Roy Keane summed it up perfectly. His attitude stank. His body language was disgusting. He literally, at one point, he stopped moving. He thought, I don't want to play here. I'm just going to throw my toys out of the pram and just stop playing. And we were meant to be looking at him like leadership, potential captain. That's not captain material. Would you ever see Roy Keane do that? Never.
But the problem is, even the current captain isn't quite...
Exactly. I'm disappointed in him massively. And then part of me's like, well, am I being harsh? But we all know Bruno's got that petulant side to him. And you know what? Sometimes he does need to be a bit on the edge to be playing top form. But then I'm thinking, you've been brought in to be... You've now been given the captaincy because the unreliability of our previous captain and the fact that he was not playing, who we all know is a favourite of mine, Harry Maguire. But then I'm thinking to myself, like, Bruno, you're 2 games in. And look what you're doing already. There's no need for them comments after that game. Oh, I want the referee to come speak. There's just no need. Just forget it. Just maybe, I think the fans would appreciate if he would have just come out and said, it's completely unacceptable. We're in a tough space right now. We have to stick together. I think the fans would have respected that. But no, instead, he went for, let me deflect, let me blame the referee. And it's just not on. It's not acceptable.
I just think, like I says, I can't understand how, we had things going for us last year. Okay, after the first 2 games, we kind of built up, and we could see what Ten Hag was doing. We could see a pattern of play. We fell in love with a lot of these players, the likes of Leach and Martinez. Obviously, Bruno's been great ever since. Marcus was smashing it. How have we arrived to where we are today? Okay, it is only 2 games, and there'll be changes, but these players shouldn't be doing what they're doing. Now, I can only assume, again, as I mentioned earlier, the common denominator, and that is the fucking board at the top. Do you mean
it's that? But also, this team isn't fit. This team looks knackered. Like,
we're talking, like I said, I think in the last podcast, I think, like I said, the only thing I can compare it to is when Liverpool, not last year, obviously the previous year, they went for the quadruple. Obviously, they didn't get that. But then the start of last season, you could see how fatigued they were. And they looked obviously mentally and physically fatigued. And I can see that in us now. So it's almost the fact that I'm thinking, because
but I'd understand that if we won a double or a treble or a quadruple,
yeah,
but we didn't.
But Liverpool didn't either. Okay, they
No,
won
but
a
that's what I'm
double, they
saying,
won two
Liverpool-
cups. But what I'm trying
They
to say,
went
we played.
pretty much all the way.
So
in
did
most
we?
of them.
We played 62 games.
Yeah,
Bearing
no,
in mind,
I think you got a point. I think you definitely got a valid point, and I think you mentioned it last week, and I agree with you to a certain degree. My only sort of not even a challenge. My thing that cropped up after that, after deep diving into it, was Garnacho was injured for the last part of the end of the season. Jadon Sancho hardly played. He actually had 3 months off at one point. I look at players like Aaron Wan-Bissaka had a large spell out of the team. Luke Shaw, okay, you know what? You could argue maybe a fatigue, him and Bruno settling in.
This is where you have to give credit to Ten Hag, because last season we were
Yeah.
literally all over the place if you look at it, but then we still managed to get top four, which no one probably expected. We won the Carabao Cup and we were FA Cup finalists as well. Now going from there, it's one of those things where you actually expect United to build on that.
I agree, Akil. My
So
only issue is, and I'll be the first one to emphasize what you say in terms of backing the manager. However, what's worrying me in comparison to last year, I mean, last year was even worse than this year. But the difference is,
100%, yeah.
the difference is, Ten Hag realised he can't play his style of play. He realised he had to play to his strengths and he had to play counter-attacking football. We weren't a possession-based team last year. Now, this is meant to be a formulated Ten Hag team after a year, bringing in certain players that he's had involvement in. We're not a possession-based team at the moment. We're looking far from being a possession-based team. If you look, and my concern is now is not the case of we've won one, lost one, because we could win again on Saturday. My concern is the attitude of these players, the work ethic, the general demeanor of these players, and also the leadership, because I don't see any fight. I don't see any passion. Even when it was 2-0 Spurs, there was 9 minutes of injury time. Was there 9 or 8 minutes or something injury time?
No,
And
yeah.
there was an additional 5 minutes. Not one of those players thought we could get back into this game. This is Man United.
Like I said, to me, I refuse to believe it's Erik Ten Hag, because he's done it wherever he's gone, and he's proved it in England as well. So it's not the case of he can't get his methods across. He's shown it last year. I think, like I said, the Mason Greenwood situation has exposed those people on top. The transfer window almost started kind of decent. We got the target he wanted, Mason Mount. Like I said, the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal wanted him. Obviously, Chelsea wanted to keep him, so we got that. Okay, tick. Then we got a goalkeeper who's going to obviously, change the way we were going to play. And some ways you can see some of those. He's the only one player you can say he's been at 7, 8, strong 8 out of 10 both games. Okay, so there's no slight on him there. But it's like I said, the situation. Obviously, yes, we got Rasmus Højlund, but you can see we needed another striker. We needed Amrabat was almost close. Like, do you know what I mean? Why did they fanny around so much? Not sell Maguire. Okay, 30 million they agreed. A fee. Okay, they're going to lose an extra 5 million or whatever have you. Get him gone. Get the players that Erik Ten Hag wants. But it seems like they spent too much time fucking worrying about the Mason Greenwood situation and the PR rather than getting the players to set Ten Hag up, to go and build upon what we finished last year.
Spin. It was a PR spin. And the thing is, if you look at, obviously you said there, we got Mount early, we got Onana, we then went in for Højlund, then there was rumours, after Højlund they're going to go for Amrabat, then there was the little Kane flirtation, whatever happened there for that week. But we have not backed this manager. No one can tell me we've backed this manager. We got him one centre mid who, yes, was his first choice. We got him a goalkeeper who's a modern goalkeeper, Champions League finalist, in my eyes, he's world class. I fucking love the guy. And then if you talk about strikers, we got him a kid, and we paid what, up to 84 million. So think of the pressure that's on that kid now to deliver. Now that you've got Martial, who, whether he decides to be injured or not is one story, but he might fuck off to Saudi. You've got Rashford, who apparently doesn't want to play as a 9, so he isn't going to put any effort in, apparently. And then you've got, presumably, he was promised Mason Greenwood will be back. So then you think, okay, yeah, 2 strikers. Now it's, okay, Mason Greenwood's not coming back. So what, are we going into the season with 1 striker? 1 19-year-old kid? Like,
I think
they've not backed him.
something. We need a miracle of some sort. We just need a little bit of a lift. Even the lift could come from as simple as the takeovers happening. You know, I mean, something to take over, because the worrying thing is for Ten Hag, there's no let off. Literally, we've got 3 or 4 hard games coming up. Arsenal away. End of October, we've got Man City. Man City coming to Old Trafford. They're going to love it. They honestly, if they play us like the way we've been playing, it's going to be a cricket score. They are going to run riot, and it doesn't get easier for Ten Hag. It's going to be so intense. Now, there's going to be Champions League fixtures out next Thursday, and you know what? We're all hoping for the big clubs and want to be a big game. But some fans you speak to on Spaces, they just literally want a group that they can quickly qualify, and some people don't even think we'll qualify. But again, I think, look, we could sit here and be negative all the way through it. I am worried as a fan, and you know what? Winning on Saturday may paint over the cracks. It'll be a hard game, I think, but I still think even at Amrabat, a midfielder, and Nana will lift the mood, and change in formation definitely. So I'm not saying it's Ten Hag's fault, but I think Ten Hag needs to cover his own back here and realise, you know what, I get why he's playing Garnacho. I see the prospect, I see the future. But the reality is, it's a risk. He needs to play Rashford on the left. He has to probably stick with Martial now and just go up front with him. He's got no real choice in the matter.
Is Martial going to be fit, though?
Well, he's going to have to just play through it and see how it goes on, or grab one of the young lads if he needs to, and he literally needs to pack that midfield, because Casemiro's dying for help. He is crying out for help. Honestly, I've never seen a guy look so off it. He didn't just look off it. He looked like, you know what, he was in semi-retirement mode. And I'm hoping this week rest.
Can I ask
this
the
week.
question then? Can I ask the question? This window, is it a write-off?
No, I don't think it's a
Apart
write-off.
from
I
Onana?
still think it's. I don't think it's a write-off, because I still think the striker's a good option. I think the keeper's class. I just think Mount is being used as a scapegoat at the moment, which I do feel bad for him. But we can't say it's all to do with the window, because we just need a couple of more additions and a bit of a shake-up as well.
You know what? I don't think we're signing anyone. I think we're done the window. I think we're done the window. It's they can't get rid of players, and they just literally just fucked up Mason Greenwood. That whole, they've literally fucked it up. Now that was easy to do when it comes to PR, but they can't get rid of McTominay or Maguire in that sense. Like,
Let's just be clear about the Maguire thing, because I genuinely stand by. I always thought he wouldn't go, and I don't think he will go. And if I'm a player like him, and I'm thinking, look at my age, why should he take a massive pay cut? Why should he do that? I don't.
You got Victor to like him as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Tej, a few weeks ago, you were calling Maguire a top pro. A top pro wouldn't hold a club to ransom when he knows he's not going to play for Man United.
He's not holding a ransom.
He's not going to play for England. So why not go to West Ham?
Dude, come on. Who on earth for England is going to replace him? You look at Mings, he's
Levi
injured
Colwill.
now as well. Who?
Levi Colwill, any day.
Who?
Chelsea centre-back, Levi Colwill.
No chance, man. They just lost 3-1 to West Ham. You're having a giraffe. You're having a giraffe.
Listen, if Maguire doesn't play, he will not be in the England squad.
Tomorrow from AC Milan,
Harry Maguire and John Stones, it's a given. Put your house on it, mate. They will always start for England, especially for the next couple of years, mate. I'm telling you that. I don't think he's holding.
He's got them nudes on Southgate.
Italian league, mate. It's a joke, mate. It's a shambles.
He's a fucking Serie A winner. Come on, Maguire won no trophy, mate. Simple as.
Maguire got relegated with an international team.
Harry Maguire's top class, and you know what? I really hope he gets back into his team, because I tell you what, away from home is what you need. A big slab head to clear them boxes, pay his defensive
The one thing,
duties.
for the Forest game, I hope he starts Maguire in a back three. I hope he
Hope he
does.
does. Yeah, hope he
I
I
does.
hope he does.
I hope
in a
we
back
get
three
rinsed.
with Varane and Martinez.
I think that would send the worst message, not because Maguire's playing, but having to play a back three against Nottingham Forest at home.
Ops. Did you see him against Arsenal?
No, I'm just saying, irrespective, we're Manchester United. I don't
Harps.
care who. No.
I get that. I get that, but bro, if you would have watched that game, I promise you,
Yeah, I don't.
at one
Like I
point,
said, I don't care. We're Manchester United. We're not out here now to be surviving. Do you know what I mean? This is our club, obviously our ground. We're the mind, the theatre of dreams. We're the ones who should be pushing, not worried about how the other team are going to play. We should be thinking about how we're going to play, how we're going to, impose ourselves on that team, not the other way around.
what
Do you
I
know what I mean?
it just baffles me that why are we not looking at the other Premier League clubs who are doing well and looking at their central midfielders? It just
The reason
baffles
why
me.
we're not, I'll say it again, and I'm 100% sure I'll be right. We need them banter there to go. Need to take his fucking rat tail. Avram Glazer. Akil, what do you think's going to happen? Okay, I think we're all confident Qatar's going to come. What's going to happen to the people below them?
You know what? From what I think's going to happen is, the whole thing with the Mason Greenwood, I think that's put in some light on what's happened for the whole board of the directors, the whole upper management, everything. Now, if you look at it from the way I see it, is they've had a reality check in the fact that the media has literally overtaken them. They've literally put them in a corner with a fucking jacu on their fucking neck and thought, you know what, just put the statement out for Mason Greenwood. But what's happened is they've let the fans react to it and they've let the fans take over the whole thing. Now, I understand no player is bigger than the club, yeah? But where's the club itself when it comes to principles and shit like that? Now, I'm going to bring Maguire name into it because he's been charged as well for the Mykonos and he's still at the club. Mason Greenwood, in the statement, it said that he did not commit the crime from what was stated and everything, but they're still going to get rid of him.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So now, what I think, Harps, is, before I finish literally in 2 minutes, I think what's going to happen is, I think one by one, they're going to go one by one. And it's going to be from the board of directors to the recruitment. I think when it comes to Ten Hag and his team, they probably will be fine. But it's from the right to the top. I think one by one, they're going to leave because the head's in shame and everything. I mean, what face have they got just showing the media? I mean, the press or whatever.
They just got no balls.
They've got to forget it, bro. Forget it's the words. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I can go on and run about these motherfuckers, man. But you know what? There's no point.
I mean, Richard Arnold has let himself down so bad. How can anybody now? Again, when it comes to a leader, a leader is meant to be obviously help you go along and lead, yeah. But if a leader, he needs to be strong as well. If they change on the whim of the fans, who's going to look at him? Who's going to look at him for support? So when Erik Ten Hag goes in, chats to his chief executive, he's thinking, well, you said Mason Greenwood's coming. Now all of a sudden, because of fan backlash, you've changed your mind. Do you mean if you're saying he's not guilty, okay, and you've spoken to the parents of the accused of the victim, you've got it all sorted. Why change?
You know what it is? Richard Arnold, him as a CEO, I thought he'd be really good. And you know what? He has done some obviously really good stuff by getting rid of a lot of people. Now, he got recommended by his peers, and one of them was also David Gill. Now, what it is, I think because of what's happened, even he's probably embarrassed, thinking, you know what, I actually give his name forward for this role. And what happened?
Do you mean David Gill?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And what it is, I think these lot of things just thinking, you know what, this club's fucked up. Like from Woodward, we probably thought, you know what, it's going to take another 2-3 years. But literally within a day, the whole club literally did 360 and flip-flopped all over again, man. Like, I don't know where to start. The whole case, they just dragged it out to a point. It just shows the club's upside down, but literally doing donuts. You know what I mean?
And that's what I mean. So that's what I'm trying to say. So how do you think that filters down to the players and the coaching staff and things of that nature? And like we said earlier,
It's like
people, you know, in the mega
what
stores
is
and the staff
even-
that's working there.
what's going on in the mind of Erik ten Hag? He's probably thinking, you know what, I wanted to Mason Greenwood, and now I've lost a striker. Now
I think he was being told you're going to get him. So
This is
okay,
the
we're not going to get you the striker that you want, Harry Kane. Let's just say him or Osimhen. Because you want Mason Greenwood. Okay, we're going to integrate him into there. So don't worry about it. You're going to have him. But no, that's gone as well.
Yeah, it's like you got two strikers there now. Martial is probably.
Is he even a striker? Do you even class him as one player?
Yeah, because I think he
you
started
never
off
really
as a
rely
left
on him.
winger. I think he started as a left winger, didn't he, under Van Gaal or front. But
No, but what I'm trying to say, you can't count on him. Like I said, I can't even count him as a player. Like, do you know what I mean?
you can't, because he's literally on fucking the hospital beds most of the times. You know what I mean? He probably
You know
couldn't
what? I've always wanted a little tweaking option. Maybe you think, oh, here we go, he's being ambitious here. But I would like to see, and I know you're thinking, I would like to see potentially Dalot play left back and Aaron Wan-Bissaka right back. And you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Luke Shaw push up on that left flank further. Now, I'm not saying that means that Rashford still stays up front, but it means that basically Rashford potentially playing off as another striker, or potentially playing as a number 10, or playing as.
So you put in Luke Shaw left wing in this scenario?
I'm saying play Luke Shaw left wing because
What?
hear me out. He won't be expected.
Okay, go on. Give me the
defensive.
madness.
Well, it's not massive madness. I think Luke Shaw, if you look on early on in his career,
You know what,
he traditionally was meant to be a left winger. I'm just thinking about how you tweak this team with minimal disruption, and you try to get the best out of certain players. And
I'll give you a great suggestion to that.
Sometimes a shake-up is needed, and I'm just saying at the moment, I think something like that would help, because that left side would then just become solid. And then you also not necessarily play Rashford on the left again, but you're playing him as off the left-hand side, but further forward.
So you want three players in the left flank?
Marcus Rashford, he's literally told the overlap and Gary Neville that he prefers to play on the left. Now, the first two games he played up front, but he dropped back a bit as well. I mean, the guy did nothing. He was lost. It was like you just go home, just sit down, watch the game at home. I mean,
this is me defending. Yeah, but this is me still understanding that, you know what, there's still weaknesses and deficiencies across the board, right? And I'm just saying.
Last season, Marcus Rashford played up front and he scored goals and he got the job done for Manchester United. What's happened?
Well, we're not allowed. I'm not allowed to talk too much about Rashford because I'll get penalised because he's one of our own. So I don't like to say too much, especially with Hartwell being his adopted father and stuff. So, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say too much about that. But I'm just thinking that wouldn't be a bad little tweak there, giving it a little trial. But even if it's not that, I know it's not Forest, so we shouldn't be too worried. But just to shake up in formation, play Bruno as a number 10, play two sitting midfielders if you need to. Just shake it up a little bit, put Sancho on the right, see what you need to do, and get this team being more enjoyable. I think Gary Neville summed it up perfectly last year. We enjoyed watching them, but let's be realistic.
You know what? Forget Gary Neville. Ted, forget Gary Neville. Clip this part, 100%, they're going to miss Fred this season, 100%. And you know what it is? Fred in that midfield with Rashford up front, is what we need. I think Fred's energy literally puts Rashford up front and he can get the goals, whereas Fred's all over the place and he can get the balls through, basically get the tackles and everything. His energy is what we need to Rashford to stay up there. And 100% we're going to miss Fred. That's a massive regret.
Fred was a bit of a fan favourite on some spaces, but
I had a soft spot for the guy.
I named it. But in terms of the bigger picture,
Did you not see his goal for Fenerbahce? Come on. That's like
but
Mourinho.
in terms of a bigger picture, Keel, we'll just be realistic with me here and go with the flow. And I'd love to hear your views on this.
Yeah,
All three, yeah.
Yeah.
After the League Cup final last year, the atmosphere, everyone was buzzing. United are back. He's got a stranglehold of this team. He can see what he wants to do. He's dealt with the Ronaldo situation. He's turned them into a winning side, winning mentality. They're in all 4 competitions. The drop-off since then has been unreal. Now, some people argue, too many fixtures, playing, in all the competitions. Okay, that's fair enough. We went all the way into certain competitions, but the performance dipped off. And Ten Hag didn't have a squad big enough, and he didn't trust them. He had to stick with those 11. Burnout is true. And you know what? Some of these players I do think are burnt out. Some of these players do look absolutely shattered. But only Ten Hag can now do something about it. He can't keep playing through it. He's got to change it up. He has to ruffle a few feathers. And even if that means, I've got to drop this player, I've got to bring that player in, he's got to do something, and he's got to do something quick because time is going to be against him. After this Saturday, I'm telling you, it's going to get hot in the kitchen. And honestly, I've never seen Arsenal fans so excited I've never seen Arsenal fans so excited to play us because they think it's going to be an easy win for them.
On Saturday, I don't think he changes up.
But he has to. He has to. Mount's injured. He has to.
I know he has to, but I don't. You know what? To be honest with you, now that Mount's injured, he will have to change up. But I think 80% of that squad stays where it is. And like Rich said, I think previously, Marcus Rashford and Luke Shaw, they went home knowing 100% that they're going to start the next game.
Oh, 100%. There is no competition there, and that's what's frustrating. But I'm not going to get too much on certain players and digging people out too much. What I want to talk about is, in terms of bringing in any more faces, are we all in agreement then that you don't think we're going to bring anyone in? Because I still think we'll bring one player in.
No, I don't think anyone's coming. Well, there's that Turkish goalkeeper.
I
was going to say the Greek goalkeeper.
I thought it's
Greek, isn't he?
One of them. Stop brought him back with you.
Oh no, yeah.
Is that on the basis?
I know you could have done the medical.
Is that on the basis that Henderson goes, or is that on the basis?
Yeah, Henderson to Palace, and then this geezer. Which
but is Henderson going to be a sale, or is it going to be another loan?
I think it's a loan with an obligation to buy, or something of that
God's
nature.
Sake.
Look, for me, in terms of the backup keeper, obviously we were going to need one. Obviously, it seems like Heaton's always injured, so I think you're going to need a keeper. I'm not giving up yet. I know a lot of you boys have. I'm still not giving up. I think a couple of signings. I think maybe a reset after the international break. Before even that, I remember last year, obviously after Brentford and Brighton, and we went into Liverpool, I think we were going to get spanked, and we turned it around and we went on a nice little run. So I'm still going to hope that's going to happen. But yeah, I think I said it the other day as well. I'm just waiting for Qatar now. I think that's where I'm at with things.
That's the only thing we've got to look forward to. I'm not being negative. I'm not going to say the season's over. I understand.
No. I think that's too premature, man. Aki, I know you're on here.
I get Riz's.
Yeah,
I know where Riz and Aki's anger came from.
Okay, so my point when I said I think it's over for the season after 2 games, what I mean is, look at what's happened with the club itself. Look at who we brought in. The first 2 performances. Now, again, give the players time, etc., whatever. But the thing is, though, I don't see another signing coming through unless Maguire or McTominay leaves. So that's the thing, and I don't see them leaving.
Well, you got Williams, who looks like he's going to go to Ipswich.
Is that a transfer? Is that a loan?
No, they're not the key signings that we need to go. I think it's more to do with Maguire.
Well, if you look at Ryan Gravenberch, there's talk of him. He's going to be a loan. So that's clearing up. And then Amrabat, I think they're around the same, about £30 million. So we'll get that. We can get that. So But I think we'll get them. And don't forget, like I said, we got Colby Mainu coming, and that's a bit worrying because we're now relying on an 18-year-old. However good he's going to be, again, a bit like Rasmus Højlund, he's going to make a difference to us as well. I think it's just the pressure that we're putting on these young players. It's just unforgivable by the club. I'm not even going to say Erik ten Hag, so I can guarantee you he doesn't want to do the same either.
You know what it is, Hops? I see a lot of people saying play the kids, and yeah, look, I agree, do play the kids, but this isn't 1992 anymore. The world has completely changed. Beckham, the Nevilles, but Scholesy, Giggs, they had that time to sort of mature and play their game in a sense, right?
They had a winning foundation, a team that was winning.
And they had a winning foundation. Yeah. They had Erik Cantona, man. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, like, youngsters don't get time anymore. People were already trashing Ahmad for one bad loan, like half a loan season at Rangers, just because of how much we spent on him. Again, we're Man United. We're always going to pay that price for being the best, right? But I trust some of the kids at least.
Yeah, I think genuinely, bro. I'm not just saying it. I think you bring in Amrabat and you bring in that level of energy. Even Onana, I think it makes a big difference this first 11 because suddenly some of these players step up again, and I think that's what's missing. That's what's needed, and then suddenly Casemiro, you know what I mean? He can step up too because I don't think you can write him off completely. I think he's had a bad start, but I think it takes him a bit of time to get fit. If I look at him at Real Madrid, he was actually quite known for this slow start to the seasons. And then what you found is under Zidane and stuff, it took him at least 5 or 6 games to get going. And then what you found is he did start to find his feet. I look at other players and I think, you know what? It's not like they're unfit. I look at Rashford. I don't think he's unfit. I think that is a mental block. I think that is something that he needs a fucking rocket. He needs to see people behind him and he needs a little bit of a rocket up him to really get going. I wouldn't be surprised if he scores on the weekend and he really steps up. Bruno, I won't question his professionalism. I think he's a brilliant player. I think very rarely does he have continual bad games. I think he'll know what he needs to do. He's smart, intelligent enough. He's been around the block to know he's got to step up and he's got to improve, and I think he will. But players like Martinez worry me at the moment because something don't feel right with the way he's playing. I felt a little bit of urgency, a bit of petulance in his play of the Wolves game. Spurs, there was times where I was like, it's just a rash, it's unnecessary, worrying again. Luke Shaw, you know what? Maybe he needs a little break out of the team. Maybe he does need to be dropped because his performances are unacceptable. And he is that good guy that knows I'll be starting next week.
Yeah, like I says, I was one of them anyway. I had so much expectation at the beginning of the season. And I still have, like I said, I've not lost faith in not at all. Like, do you know what I mean? I know some of the lads have, and I know some people online have as well. It's just puzzling, I think, at the present moment in time. I mean, if I'm sitting here in 4 weeks' time and I'm still saying the same things, then that's when I'm worried. Then I'm really worried, you know. But then I have to look at the silver lining just to think, you know, the Glazers can't stay here for any longer, and they are going to have to go. But yeah, sorry, you was going to say something.
Yeah. So obviously, I said I don't feel like he's been backed. I feel like he's had the rug pulled from under him. So we finished 3rd last season. FA Cup final, won the Carabao Cup. Life was good, yeah? So, to you boys, how do you back that manager to then go from 3rd to a title charge? Like, what do you bring him in?
I think the reality is it's too much of an open-ended question, that is. I think it's very easy for us to sit here and say he needs to bring in 4-5, he needs to bring us. The key thing we needed was an out-and-out proven striker who was going to bring.
You needed the goal scorer.
So you needed Kane.
We needed Kane. And the thing is, I do think that they would have paid it, but I just think the Spurs stood firm on it and they just didn't want to do it. So it is what it is. It is what it is. With no point crying over it. Nothing we can really do about it. But if the next Spurs isn't if Harry Kane isn't available, you go for the next best option, and we didn't do that.
Who
either.
is?
It could have been Osimhen. Yes, it might have been priced out, but
Broke his
realistically,
ankle as well.
well, there you go. So he's broke his ankle. I didn't know that. It's news to me. Half staying on top of the Italian league.
Always.
But then I look at other players like the Juve striker. Why is he not a United striker? Why not?
Because he's gone.
Why not João Felix?
João Felix.
He's not the guy who's going to hold the ball up.
Yeah, if you think João Felix is a striker Man United need, then we're watching two different games of football because he is
No. He's obviously he's not got the hold up play, but he's got the technical ability, right?
He's
That's
a
what
guy
I'm
that
saying,
will frustrate you. He will just lose the ball 5-6 times a game, and he will just run into walls. Honestly, he's like a downgrade of Park Ji-sung on steroids. So yeah, literally just running into walls all the time.
I'm like, you sure you can compare Park Ji-sung?
I was going to say, how did you get that?
How did you get that comparison?
Because Park
One's a
Ji-sung
midfielder, one's a brilliant attacking
Park
nine.
Ji-sung was amazing, but however, he loved to run into traffic, run into walls, didn't he? Just loved it.
Bro, he was a fucking workhorse, man. Like, do you know what I mean? He was a great player for us.
Bringing a star striker.
Bringing in star striker, he needed like Caicedo player. He needed him or Rice. He needed that.
Did you see Caicedo? Did you see Caicedo?
Caicedo's had one bad game, but I still think he's a top draw midfielder and he'll do well for Chelsea. You know, last year we should have gone for Enzo. Chelsea broke the bank for him. Why didn't we? Top midfielder, he'll come good as well, and he's one for the future to watch out for. And then you think to yourself, we're relying on Varane at the moment and Martinez. I think flipping out. What if Varane gets injured now?
Oh, he's going to get injured.
The Kim Min-jae rumours. Apparently, we were all over Kim Min-jae.
But look at him as well. He hasn't started life great at Bayern. He hasn't started life great at Bayern either.
Oh no, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, from the sense of we were getting a right-sided centre back, right? So again, it's evidence that the manager's not been backed. So me personally, Kane, or another, so a goal scorer basically, yeah, a workhorse, so an Amrabat or someone like that, and a centre back. That's the minimum he needed, and obviously the goalkeeper.
Well, look, he's still
and
there.
out of that, he got the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and Ten Hag's still there. I'm with Harpo. I have not lost faith. I'm worried, but I've not lost faith. I still think he'll turn it around. I still think we can do well. Do I think we can compete for the league? I don't know. Do I think we can win stuff? Yes. Do I think we'll get top 4? Yes. However, I do feel like it all is a little bit reliant on that one player coming in, or if Mainu comes back a bit sooner than expected, I think that's going to be a big difference. But at the moment, it's just not very nice times. Even the announcement of the takeover in the next week or two would be massive for this club, massive for this crop of players, and be massive for the fan base as well. But I mean, I could talk about it for hours on end. I think the best thing to do is talk after Forest. Once that game is finished, I'll be there. I'd love to hear your views after.
You're actually going to go to this one, yeah?
I'm definitely going. No tonsillitis is going to stop me on this one, mate.
Ted, make sure you take an extra packed lunch because you're going to be staying in for an extra hour, aren't you?
Why is that?
I guess you're not then.
Best place to end it.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this part of the Legion group of protesters and other stronger affiliations to this podcast?
No strong affiliation to this podcast, mate. But I think, like you said, it's less said the better. I think.
33 years, no criminal record. I'd like to keep it that way, please.
I'll be quite interested to see how you get arrested for sitting in. But Ted, like you said, I think we'll end it there, and it'll be a great point when after the game, we'll do a match reaction. Hopefully, we'll get you on. You never know; you might be driving down on the phone whilst you're giving us your reactions. I'll be live and raw. Everybody, again, thank you for tuning in. As I say. Between now and the next podcast, I'm sure the club will let us down in many other ways, and there'll be other news that's going to come out. We'll have plenty to talk about. But again, thank you for listening, and stay Haraami.
Cool, boys.